All right. Welcome back, everybody. We're In the Grass podcast. Good to have everybody here to listen along, or if you're watching on YouTube, that's cool too. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you give that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. That way you're notified every time we drop a new podcast. We might be putting out other videos on the channel eventually. You never know. If you're following us on other platforms, if you're listening to the podcast on Spotify or Apple Pods or Google Play, Spotify, we appreciate that. Give us a review on there. Subscribe so you got the newest episode always in your feed. You never know when we're going to drop something hot. Hit us up on Twitter. Follow us. We're at In the Grass Pod. If you'd like to start a conversation with us, you could DM us or just tweet at us. If you'd like a more private conversation, you want to email us something, inthegrasspod@gmail.com. Hit us up. Let us know if you want to be a guest on the show. If you've got an idea, you or just a team or a division or conference, or you got a topic you want to bring up, please come on, get on the show. We'd love to have you. As for this video, today, we're your hosts for In the Grass. I'm Steven. It's my brother Mikey.
What's up?
We got the AFC South. So, the Texans, the Jags, the Colts, and the Titans. Those sneaky Titans, man. They snuck into the playoffs last year. Yeah. They didn't have a field goal kicker.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I think they made 4 field goals the entire year, or in the last 12 games.
They didn't kick a field goal for 5 games or something.
They show up in the playoffs. They beat the Patriots.
Yeah, and
that was at the Patriots.
Shocking.
That was Tom Brady's last game in a Patriots uniform.
Yeah.
Bid you adieu, sir. After that, they beat the Ravens.
Yeah, and that shocked everybody.
Ooh, man,
Everybody picked the Ravens for the Super Bowl winner.
I picked them to win the Super Bowl. Man,
yeah. The way they were going, they were headed for it.
Yep. LJ, he, boom, every week. Starting week 1, 5 touchdown passes. Man, he was crazy for the Ravens all year long. He couldn't do anything against the Titans. That was a crazy game. Derrick Henry.
Yeah, Derrick Henry basically controlled the game.
Yep.
And when you got a running game like that,
yep.
And then physical guy.
And then the Titans in the championship game against the Chiefs looked like they might be able to do
Pull
something.
It off again, but
wow, that would have been a story. But we got a story anyways.
Yeah, the Chiefs, they came back in every game in the playoffs, down by 20 points.
Yeah, that was awesome. That's kind of the way the Chiefs go. They're either coming back from down a lot, or they're letting you come back from
blowing a 30-point lead.
Yeah. So let's start there. Let's start with the Titans. Man, they had the best performance. They went the deepest of any team in the division. What are your first thoughts about the Titans this season?
Just run the damn ball. They gotta feed that guy.
Yep.
And hopefully Tannehill can somewhat do what he did last year.
So Derrick Henry running the ball, he's going to have as many opportunities as you can imagine. The dude ran the ball 400 times in the playoffs last year. Yeah, it was in 3 games.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that stat's wrong, but it was something like that.
Exaggerating a little bit.
Yeah, so there's no Dion Lewis. He wasn't a threat to carries, but as far as touches for the running back, Dion Lewis was coming out of the backfield. Derrick Henry has actually shown some hands.
Yeah, they kind of picked it up
recently.
Yeah.
So they might not feel the loss of a player like Dion Lewis, with Derrick Henry, honing the receiving skills, and don't sleep on Darrington Evans, rookie from Appalachian State.
Okay.
They're really they like this guy. I don't think I saw a single App State game over the last few years, but man, player coming out of there like that, and he's on the list here right behind Derrick Henry. So you never know what you might get.
Yeah, it's good having a rookie back there.
Especially the use that Henry got last season. You might want to spell him a little bit, kind of like the Todd Gurley treatment.
Yeah, it was kind of weird how they used Derrick Henry even with Deion Lewis there, because the year prior it was kind of, at the end of the year they ran the shit out of Derrick Henry, but they used Deion Lewis a lot.
Yes. Yeah.
So they need a guy kind of replace that a little bit.
Yeah, and maybe Evans is gonna be a change of pace guy. Maybe he's just a third down guy.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's a when you say change the pace, if you're gonna throw the ball out of the backfield, maybe you bring him in, and do some stuff like that. Talking about the receiving game, talk about the passing game.
Yeah.
You brought him up already.
A.J. Brown, and then who else they got?
I'm thinking, what's Tannehill gonna do? With whoever is there. We know AJ Brown. He became a fixture week 10. He was a late bloomer.
Yeah.
That's the pure definition. This guy, and then he went absolutely bananas.
Yeah.
The guy was going nuts. They're thinking, this dude, if he's there from the jump, he's gonna be on the list at the end of the year of either just breakout superstars in general, but definitely on the list of yards, receiving, and receptions. And they're going to want to get him the ball as much.
He was possible on the top 5 breakout candidates for this year. So
I can imagine why.
Yeah.
Yeah, if anybody has, especially we're talking breakout stars, people that, are coming up that haven't had the blockbuster seasons yet. This guy, A.J. Brown, he's got to be number one. I can't think of another player that has the potential, for a guy that didn't really become a starter or a big part of the offense until week 10 of the season and made, an impact in the games that he did play.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough to compete with a guy like A.J. Brown.
Yeah, they got Corey Davis and that Humphreys guy, which Humphreys had some good games in him.
Yeah.
But then Delaney Walker.
Yeah. So they're going to be missing out on, Delaney Walker. Delaney Walker, if you're listening for fantasy advice, I don't recommend this podcast, but, if you're a fantasy player and you just want to hear nice hot takes, I can recommend In the Grass podcast all day long. Delaney Walker was one of those fantasy guys where for the few seasons ago, man, you were trying to jump at him as soon as Gronk was off the board.
Yeah, I've seen 4 years in a row, 800 yards.
Yep.
Until this past season.
Yeah, this past season, kind of fell off. The Titans were like, "Yep, what have you done for me lately? Sorry, you got to get the next guy
broke
up."
His ankle, so older guy ankle issue.
Can't be doing that. Speaking of older guys, maybe we can talk about head coach Mike Vrabel. Not that much older than some of these guys.
Yeah.
But he comes from what they call the Bill Belichick coaching tree, if you can call it that. He was a player.
Yeah.
Most of the time. He was the linebacker. He was, I think he has a career 8 receptions, 8 touchdowns.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's one of those kind of guys. He beat his mentor. It was the classic, the showdown, the teacher and the student.
Yeah.
And this time, and it hasn't happened much, because you could look at Bill Belichick's record against head coaches. Yeah, he's facing for the first or second time. He owns them, literally.
Yeah.
Mike Vrabel stung him, and he played Belichick ball.
Yeah, he did. He totally.
It was awesome.
Clock management thing.
Oh my goodness!
Totally.
I learned a lot about football, just by obviously what Vrabel learned while he was there. That he was in New England forever as a player, and then underneath him.
Yeah, becoming a coach, I mean, that's got to be your dream, is just to beat your former coach,
Yeah, to have that, to toss that into the bucket, man, that's got to feel good.
Oh, yeah.
A Super Bowl championship is the ultimate, but, hanging your hat after a season like last year that they had, doing what they did.
Yeah. Nobody's seen that coming.
Things like Mike Vrabel beating Bill Belichick in the playoffs in Foxborough. That is awesome.
Yeah.
A player that might be testing Vrabel on age here. He's getting up there, but he's new to the Titans. Vic Beasley, linebacker. He played a long time in Atlanta.
Yeah.
He was a beast. Sacks guy. He was one of those linebackers that just eyes on the quarterback. He could smell a quarterback from a mile away. If he can show up and we're looking at this Titans defense that beat the Patriots and the Ravens in the playoffs last year, and to add a guy, maybe you're just looking for not maybe a down every series or whatever he's going to be able to give you on defense. Get him fresh in there, jump in the huddle, pump the guys up. This guy is a vocal guy. He's a locker room guy, seasoned veteran, former Pro Bowler. This dude.
Yeah, and everybody needs that guy in the locker room to kind of lean on for say, but didn't play for Dallas, didn't he? A little bit.
Vic Beasley? He might have been there a season.
Yeah.
Now that I'm thinking about
They
it.
signed him and probably cut him.
I know he played against Dallas a lot and smashed them all the time. On the defense, with Vic Beasley coming in, Mike Vrabel said that's not it. They're looking to beef that defense up even more with Jadeveon Clowney sitting out there. He's unsigned. He's an unsigned free agent, no restrictions. Anybody can grab him. And Mike Vrabel might be sitting there thinking, with the camp trying to start up sometime soon, does he want Jadeveon Clowney to be there? I think with a guy like Vic Beasley in the locker room, you can bring somebody like Clowney in. No matter what his reputation might be, he's injury riddled. Some people think that his head is inflated because he was drafted so high. He's been playing for a couple of teams now. I think Jadeveon Clowney
fits perfect.
Yes, yes, please plug him in. Like I said, this defense doesn't really need much help.
Yeah.
They're looking pretty good. Before we finish off with the Titans, is there anybody else? Any other Titans related topics that you wanted to bring up before we move on?
No. They're probably the team to watch in the division.
I'd say so. If I had to pick right now, man, the Texans, they're looking like they're putting something together on paper, but I think the Titans already proved last season the question marks, and it's crazy. You barely said his name when we first started talking about the Titans, but Tannehill.
Yeah, it's pretty much, run the ball and then whatever Tannehill can do, basically.
Yeah, and if A.J. Brown can just be down there, or I don't know how far Tannehill's reaching, how far downfield he wants to chuck the ball, but man, wherever he wants to throw it, A.J. Brown wants to be there.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Houston Texans.
Yeah. They got rid of probably top 3 wide receiver in the league.
Yeah, potential with a quarterback like Watson who wants the ball in his number one receiver's hands as much as possible. Losing a guy like Hopkins, you're losing a lot. And I don't know if I forgot to look up the trade again to remember off the top of my head who exactly they got.
They got David Johnson.
Okay,
and then a second round and a 4th round pick.
Okay, all right. So they lose Hopkins, but look at their receivers right now. They got Cooks, Brandon Cooks, Kenny Stills, Will Fuller is still there, and Randall Cobb. Man, that's a lot of guys that love to catch the football, and they've proved
shifty guys
over time. They can make some catches that'll make you scratch your head.
Mm-hmm.
Man, these guys.
And then David Johnson, he was always a catch the ball kind of out of the backfield.
He's a dual threat, versatile running back. Stat that I have for Deshaun Watson, 15 completions of 30 yards or more downfield. Last season, he led the league. So you look at these receivers, Brandon Cooks, Kenny Stills, Will Fuller, Randall Cobb.
The 4 verticals.
Man, he might throw 15 completions of 30 yards or more downfield in a game or two.
Every game.
Yeah. Man, that's what I'd be trying to do. Yeah, and David Johnson, I forgot about, because honestly, it's been a while. He came back from the injury. He's not, the former number 1 fantasy pick, a few years running. David Johnson, but he's had more time to heal. He's had some time to rest. David Johnson has proved before that he can, go out there and put up numbers in a season that could make him a contender for an MVP.
Yeah. Possible.
Yeah.
He just got to get back to, staying healthy.
Right.
And they also got Duke Johnson, who's known for fucking catching the ball.
Duke Johnson, yeah.
And it's like, how many times is Watson going to be throwing the ball a game?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, he's they'll have to establish some sort of running game because I know play action is going to be a big part.
Oh yeah.
Of not just the Texans, but I mean that's the way the league is right now.
Yeah.
You're
play action.
throwing the ball and you got to develop play action. You got to establish your run game so you can get the defense to make moves that'll expose themselves.
Yep.
And then you hit your big quick targets downfield. And we got guys throwing the ball, and this dude Deshaun Watson. I remember his rookie season. He didn't play the first game, or maybe he played at the very end of it, and then they were obviously wanting to go ahead and pull the trigger on him, and he just torched the league for like 3 or 4 games, and then tore his ACL. Man.
Yeah.
Oh, it was such a sad time, man.
Yeah.
It's always unfortunate, not just when the good players, when anybody gets injured in football or any sport, man. It sucks. There's no way to be around. Man, when a guy like that, so he's showing so much potential, and out of nowhere, and to have an injury like that, but man, has he bounced back or what?
Yeah, and he's right up there with Patrick Mahomes and all those young.
Yeah, they were all in the same draft class. They all went boom, boom, boom. And that dude Mahomes has already got the MVP and he's got the Super Bowl trophy. And so who's going to be next?
Yeah.
Basically. Deshaun Watson, he wants to be next for sure. I'm sure that he's got the taste in his mouth after watching. I'm sure they're probably close friends. And I don't know, maybe they're bitter enemies. I don't know. Mahomes lifting that trophy, winning that MVP last season. Watson watched that happen, and especially after what happened his rookie season, he might think that could have been him.
Yeah, and the whole trading away Hopkins probably hit him a little bit because I remember he posted something on Twitter like, what the fuck is
he wanted
our
to be
team
traded.
doing? He was like,
he was emotional. I would imagine, man,
Yeah.
if I was, and imagine Hopkins is probably a great teammate, and not just losing his impact on the field, but losing just a great teammate. That it's tough enough to be a good football player. It's even harder probably to be a good teammate. Hopkins is probably one of those guys, and to lose him, to get the news. And sometimes it's the way that the news breaks, and that's the name of the game, man.
Yeah.
The cookie crumbles, and you just got to deal with it.
Yeah.
It's not like they could call Watson and say, "Hey, just a heads up,
Thinking about this move. What do you think?
It's not the way. It's not the way things are done. It's not the way things are done where they work. It's not the way things are done where anyone works.
It's all business.
It's a business decision.
Hopkins
and
cost too much.
And now, if I was Deshaun Watson, I'd be looking at these notes that I have written down here, looking at the list of wide receivers you've got. Cooks and Stills, and Will Fuller is still there.
He's got to be happy.
Randall Cobb,
they got some things.
Yeah, so
Little pieces.
Deshaun Watson and David Johnson in the same backfield. You got to keep your fingers crossed. These guys stay healthy. Man.
Yeah. Will Fuller too. Like that motherfucker just always in the end zone catching whatever is thrown to him.
Yeah, Will Fuller. Yeah. Something we haven't touched on is tight end. Darren Fells comes over. He's gonna be the tight end there in Houston. And something interesting about Fells is that he never played college football. He was a college basketball player, and even played professional basketball. Not here, not in the NBA, but overseas. He was a professional basketball player. Huge guy, very athletic, loves to catch the ball. There's a sort of a basketball pedigree to tight ends now in the NFL. The Jimmy Graham. That's just kind of the way the game is evolving right now, and that's the Cowboys drafted a basketball player. It didn't work out, but Darren Fells, he's been in the league for a little while now. He's been in a few different places. I guess he was in Seattle, Arizona. Now he's in Houston. He's got Deshaun Watson. Who better to be your quarterback when you come to a new team as a tight end? And it looks like he's the guy at tight end right now. And it's got to be a feeling. He's breathing a sigh of relief because now he's got faith in his quarterback. He knows he can rest assured that if he follows his assignments, he can get what he's going to get. But he's also got to step up and be the guy. He's the number one dude on the depth chart.
Yeah, he'll probably be like end zone, red zone threat. I mean,
Yeah, red zone threat for sure. So Darren Fells joining the squad on the offense for the Texans, but on the defense, the man himself, Mr. Houston Texan,
Yes.
J.J. Watt. Is he going to be there on the field? I saw him on SNL
yeah,
right before the
good.
Super Bowl. Man, that was a great episode of Saturday Night Live. I watch every episode of Saturday Night Live, so I know the good ones. I can pick them out. And the J.J. Watt episode, and it's really nice when you get an athlete up there that knows how to make folks laugh. There was some gut busters. I was in tears watching this guy. He was funny, but what's he going to do when he's not on the stage there at 30 Rock? He's going to be on the field in Houston, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully he's, got the Subway commercials too. Those are pretty funny.
Yes. So J.J. Watt is hilarious. And to be honest, the game of football is better when he's playing it.
Yeah, you want your best players to play. As a fan, you want to see the best players play.
Yes. And what's really crazy is that Derek Watt has signed in Pittsburgh.
Oh shit.
So yeah, he's there. T.J. Watt is there. I wonder what kind of campaign is a brewing there.
Is he on defense too?
No, Derek Watt is a fullback.
It's fullback, yeah, that's what I was
saying. Yeah, so just imagine if you could get the trifecta, but I don't think it'd be very, very hard to get JJ to leave. He pretty much owns the town.
Yeah.
He is Houston, Texas.
And he's
right
been
now.
hurt so much, it'd be hard to trade him.
Yeah, exactly. You probably
they'd have to release him and then.
Yeah, right now you just want the dude to be on the field. Just contributing, playing snaps, playing downs. So like I said, he's one of the greatest players in the league. Walter Payton Award winner, obviously. He does a lot for the community of Houston. That's another reason why it would be really hard to take him out.
He's a really good guy.
Yeah, exactly. Does a lot for people less fortunate than he. It's nice to see folks out there in the world like that.
Yeah,
they still exist. So the Texans, man, we were thinking, how are we going to talk about the Houston Texans? We don't know anything about them.
Yeah, and all those receivers.
Yeah, then we saw all the receivers over there. Let's talk about some. Maybe not another group of receivers, but one receiver that I'm going to have my eyes on is with the Indianapolis Colts, T.Y. Hilton.
Mm-hmm.
He's another injury guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate saying that there are injury guys out there, but you know what? After playing fantasy football for so long, you just kind of you call a duck and a spade, and it's so unfortunate to see these guys dealing with things like this, and you never want to see it. And T.Y. Hilton, man, he is electric when he's on the field. You can be watching the game, and it looks like the Colts are struggling. Their offense might not know what's going on, and then all of a sudden they're down the field somehow, and it's because T.Y. Hilton just busted one off.
Yeah, I remember having him on fantasy and just looking at my score, like, man, I'm down 20 points, and then looking at it 5 minutes later, like, oh shit, I'm
he
tired
scored
now.
2 touchdowns in that time. Yeah, so T.Y. Hilton, if he can find his groove and stay healthy and stay on the field.
And they got a new quarterback there, so
Phil Rivers is hopefully. Well, Phil Rivers is hoping to be throwing the ball to T.Y. Hilton.
He brought his 13 children with him, and
he backed him up. We never thought that he would move out of San Diego, and then they forced him to, and he must have hated Los Angeles.
Probably just it's a job.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So he's got a 1-year deal with the Colts. He's Phillip Rivers the fourth. He can put his arm under it and heave that thing, and he loves to have really fast receivers running down there and getting the ball. He's no stranger to throwing the ball down there, and it's not his guy catching the ball. But it seems not to faze him. He's a quarterback that has been reliable for a very long time. He played for the Chargers for...
He's always out there, too, like...
a really long time, yeah. Yep. And You know, his numbers, completions, yardage, it's always up there. And if you play fantasy, you know what we're talking about because Phillip Rivers has been a staple.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to try to bring that to the Colts. Frank Reich, he's the head coach. He's, got a bit of a history with Phillip Rivers. So they're thinking they might have what it takes.
Yeah, and T.Y. Hilton's like a perfect receiver for him.
When you
He's
got a guy like that, yes.
He's like a Keenan Allen type, you
Yes.
know.
You want a guy like T.Y. Hilton when you're a new quarterback to kind of help you ease into the job.
Yeah. I'm just looking up their other receivers. They got that Paris Campbell and that Zach Pascal.
Yes.
They were kind of, doing the thing when T.Y. went down.
Yes, both of them. Both of them. Yeah. There was a couple of times when you looked out on the waiver wire and it was one or both of those guys was number one ranked available because it was so tough. And what was really hard was picking between them.
Yeah. If you got both of them,
Yeah, I guess. On the Colts, they traded their 13th overall pick to San Francisco for DeForest Buckner. He's a 3 technique on the defense. He is an all-pro, Pro Bowler. They traded the 13th pick in the first round for this guy. So they're expecting him to come in and be like they drafted him in the first round.
Yeah.
He is a former first rounder. This guy is a huge defender. He disrupts the offense. It's really the best way to put it.
Yeah.
He racks up the sacks.
Who was that other linebacker they got over there? Man, I can't think of his name.
Yeah, I don't think I wrote any down.
It was his sophomore year last year. He had like an outstanding rookie year.
Yeah, so this is only going to solidify what they've already got going. And thinking over the last couple of seasons, the Indianapolis Colts defense has been really bad.
Yeah, especially the year prior, it was like the worst defense.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. So bringing in a guy like DeForest Buckner, I mean, you got your expectations. This guy is going to meet them.
Mm-hmm.
These other quarterbacks in the league, the Deshaun Watsons, you feel for him bringing a dude like this into the division. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And their second round pick, you know, that's kind of the talk of their whole team right there. You know, how they're going to use him.
I love the Wisconsin running back that they drafted in the second round, Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Yeah.
Oh, no, sorry. Jonathan Taylor, man, this guy, when he was at Wisconsin, you put the ball in his chest and he found the end zone. Mm-hmm. And he carried the ball about 1,000,000 times.
It seems like Wisconsin's just like breeds running backs.
Too. Oh, they're a factory. They're a factory. Yeah. And they're running on the reputation of Ron Dane back in the 90s. That dude, he was bulldozing people before they even knew what was coming. And yes, and he's just Jonathan Taylor. He's just the latest to come out of there, and it's crazy that he racked up the numbers that he did, because I say it was 1,000,000 carries. It was close, but he only accounted for, a percentage of his offense because he was actually splitting time, which was the crazy thing.
They weren't a really good team, I don't think either. So
yeah. Well, Wisconsin's thing is that, just like most college teams, they blow out the first 5 or 6 teams that they play, and then when it comes down to actual conference play and playing real football, their dog and pony show, which is basically running the shit out of the ball. It only goes so far, but when you got a guy like Taylor, it goes a long way actually. And yes, he's carrying the banner.
They just, how are they going to use him with Marlon Mack? He kind of had like a decent year last year,
And you were even bringing up that Marlon Mack might be the starter. It doesn't. I mean, if it was me, and I can confess I had the Tiger Beat Jonathan Taylor poster in my room hanging up while he was playing at Wisconsin. He's a no-doubter to me, especially drafting him in the second round.
Yeah.
Second round, recently. As far as the last 5-10 years of NFL drafts, drafting a running back in the second round, that is where you draft the higher running backs. Usually, if you go into the first round for a running back, those are the generational talents.
Yeah.
Lately it's been the Ezekiel Elliott's, the Saquon Barkley's
Yeah.
going in the first round, but second round running back, that's they're making a statement drafting him that high, and if they didn't draft him, whoever's next probably would have got him
Yeah.
because he was.
Yeah, I'm surprised he went in the second round. I thought he was going to be a first rounder.
I thought he would win
But-
that Heisman, but I guess when it comes down to it, Joe Burrow, he balled out too.
Yeah, I mean, after that Texas game.
Yeah, I think Taylor, if he would have thrown a couple touchdowns, maybe he would have been higher up there.
Yeah.
But kind of rounding out, talking about the Colts here, Marlon Mack, he might have something to say about it, like you brought up.
Yeah, I think they listed him as a starter. We knew that could be speed.
Right.
This is the veteran guy,
maybe whoever compiled that list was giving him the benefit of the doubt because he's
Yeah.
been there.
Yeah.
And however it shakes out, expect Taylor and Mack to probably be part of the offense this year for sure. Both coming in, bringing the hammer. They're both really hard hitting, hard running guys. So that should be really great. And with Phillip Rivers, he's gonna be depending on
Yeah.
a great running game to help him out. With the setting up the passing game.
Yeah, because well, another thing, the Colts have a really good offensive line. They have one of the top 5 offensive lines.
Yep.
That's something you really didn't have in San Diego, so.
Yeah.
So, should be having a good running game. Just
Or Los
chunky.
Angeles.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's safe to move on from the Colts to the final team.
The
Here
Minshews?
in the breakdown, the London Minshews.
Yeah.
That's something I wanted to bring up. Maybe we could just lead off with that before we go into really discussion of the roster. We've heard over the last 10, maybe even 15 years, the Jacksonville Jaguars could potentially move to London and play home games there. And, they'll play 8 games there, and then they'll fly to the States and they'll play 8 games touring 8, cities here. Their owner is an international kind of a business person. What would you think if they had a NFL team home stadium in London?
Well, I don't really care. But
me neither.
if I was a fan, or had season tickets, that's when I would be pissed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can see if you were one of those
but it's just like any
diehard Jacksonville Jaguars football fans.
Yeah.
You paint
It's probably
yourself
not many,
teal
but-
and black, and gold, or whatever other colors that they're using nowadays. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can understand. Like you said, me as a guy, and I'll even.
I think it would be cool.
I'll
Just,
dox myself as a Cowboys fan. I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, but I don't live in Dallas, and so if they moved, it really wouldn't matter
Yeah,
to
it's
me. I
tough
would
to watch
still,
that.
I would still be a fan of theirs. But and I consider myself a diehard fan. So maybe it's nothing. Maybe
Yeah.
it's something to some people, and that's the thing is that. I guess, everybody experiences things differently, even football.
At first, when the Raiders moved to Las Vegas, all the Raiders fans were like, oh, fuck this. But, now
Right.
you look at it, and they're like, okay, we're still Raiders fans,
They were like, oh, yeah, we just moved from Los Angeles twice.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it is what it is. I think, honestly, it would be cool. I say we should put them in London. We should send the Raiders down to Mexico City,
Yeah,
or
put 'em in
the Houston
Mexico.
Texans, send them in Mexico City, or whatever. Put a team in Canada, put one in wherever, Maybe just go continental, and,
Right.
and you put one in each continent, including
So,
Antarctica.
50 teams.
Yeah,
Expand the league.
I would want to go watch a game at the base of a volcano in Antarctica.
Yeah.
So the Jacksonville Jaguars, we call them the London Minshews, but he's only one player. They drafted 12 players in this draft, which
Yeah,
is a
that's
little bit
crazy.
unusual.
Wow.
Had a couple of first rounders. They spent them both on defense.
Yeah.
They went defense a lot They
couple cornerbacks, or what they do?
It was, I think they got like 3 cornerbacks and a safety, total of 4 defensive backs. That's something that they're trying to secure because obviously they lost Jalen Ramsey, they lost AJ Boye, so that they were pretty bare there in the defensive backfield. They also signed Darquez Denard, to bring a veteran presence, so they don't have a bunch of rookies having to hold it down.
12 rookies out there.
These guys are highly touted though. Like I said, a couple of them went in the first round. They had a second round wide receiver. I want to get the name right.
Yeah.
LaVisca Chenault Jr. A lot of folks are reporting that this guy could be breakout star wide receiver.
Yeah, and the coach, he already came out and said that he was going to be a variety of different players. In college, he played out of the backfield, lined up at tight end. I think he had 23 carries or something like that.
Yeah.
He can probably do it all. I've never seen him play, but...
Yeah, I'm wondering how many of those were jet sweeps, And, that's always an aspect of the game that can get really exciting.
Yeah. Pretty big guy, too. I think he was like 6'2", 230 pounds or some shit like that.
No. Well, that's good. That's good. They need something like that because they've got, guys like Dede Westbrook, DJ Chark.
Little shifty guys.
Shifty guys, shapeshifters, some would call them. Also in the passing game, Minshew, the guy did what he could at Washington State in college, and he did what he could last year when he could.
Yeah, it was like before Halloween. He had like 2 games or something that everybody jumped on the train, and he was feeling the hype, and then just fell off.
Yes,
I think they ended up benching his ass.
I wrote down here, Minshew looks cool. Is he any good though?
Yeah,
he's all right.
Got the stash going on.
He's all right, and if he can maybe work on some things, I'm sure he's got a
throwing the ball
list. Yeah, throwing the ball, playing football. If he can get better at some of these things, no, but he's gonna be out there rocking a mustache, wearing a headband, and he's gonna be slinging it. And he's got some dudes to sling it to, like we mentioned, Westbrook, Chark, LaVisca Chenault Jr., the rookie that they drafted in the second round. Tyler Eifert comes from the Cincinnati Bengals.
Oh, yeah. And he'll catch the ball, in the end zone.
We mentioned Darren Fells as a red zone kind of a threat, and Eifert, he's picking up what you're putting down. He's drinking the same Kool-Aid. He's on the same sauce there.
Yeah.
Look for him in the end zone.
Hopefully he just stays on the field. All these guys have injuries, man. It's like
football is a rough
time
sport.
we live in now. 40 years ago, these guys weren't having injuries like this.
Yeah, they were a lot smaller back then, so it didn't hurt as much, I guess, when they hit you.
Maybe they just weren't bitches or something.
Oh, maybe. So they lost Jalen Ramsey. They lost AJ Boye. They got 12 new draft picks that they're hoping they can, insert into the game. A lot of them are the defensive backs. You got Gardner Minshew trying to prove a point. We looked it up. They drafted a quarterback. That was one of the picks.
Something McDonald.
Yeah, out of somewhere.
Hawaii or something.
Okay. Yeah. So, just give, maybe that's what Minshew needs. He needs a little bit of competition. Sure, he had Nick Foles, but honestly, when has Nick Foles ever competed with anybody?
Yeah.
Only time he's been good is when the other guy goes down and then it's only him. Him or nothing. But not to take anything away from Foles. I mean, the dude is a Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah, he's battling out in Chicago with Trubisky now, so...
Yeah, and when we get to that division, which, spoiler alert, guys, look next week, or sometime in between now and then, for our next breakdown video. It's going to be the NFC North.
Yep.
I think that's the one.
Mostly Packers.
Okay. I'm going to make sure to do a lot of research, bring a lot of Bears heat, a lot of Lions, and
Bears helmet.
I'm gonna wear my Vikings helmet.
Yeah, the Ditka jersey.
Yes, I'll have my Ditka sweater on, my Viking helmet.
Yeah.
And to honor Detroit, I'll grill some hot dogs or something before we do the podcast. But I think that pretty much does it for our breakdown of the AFC South. So last week we did the NFC South, talked about Tom Brady coming to the division, and this week we talked about Phillip Rivers
Yeah.
coming to the AFC South. So, we're excited for football to hopefully start on time, given the times that we're living in with quarantine and everything. Hopefully it's a good sign that baseball has announced they're going to start hopefully next month with a 60-game season. So we will figure out a way to play fantasy baseball somehow this year. I'll defend my title, hopefully. It'll be abbreviated.
They're supposed to start before basketball, too, so...
Okay.
So they'll be the first of the 3 major sports to come back, so we'll see how it goes.
So seeing that, hopefully the NFL will be like, yeah, it looks like we can do this, guys, and hopefully they keep the players as safe as possible. That's what I, everybody's concerned about. Number one, if they come back and...
Just put them all in bubbles and...
Right.
and they'll be fine.
Yeah. And so, with football on the horizon, I can't wait for it to start. Breaking these divisions down. This is, getting the juices flowing. I'm getting antsy. I'm ready for it to start. So
sports
hopefully,
kind of takes your mind off all the craziness in the world.
Yeah. It definitely helps. It definitely helps. Not even playing, just enjoying watching and and seeing what's going on.
Yeah,
and
hanging out, watching the game.
Yeah,
nothing like it.
Right. And seeing some of the changes that are happening. Changes happen every year in the league, but it seems like this year there's a lot of change. Players that were at their posts, like Tom Brady for 20 years, and Phillip Rivers as long as he was there, and with the Chargers in both San Diego and Los Angeles. Man, it's going to shake things up a little bit, and that's the spice of life. I mean, having a team like the Chiefs with a young guy like Mahomes win the Super Bowl last year, and it just leaves... everything's open. You don't got to worry about the Patriots and Tom Brady coming in and win the Super Bowl.
The Raiders going to Vegas,
Yeah,
that's gonna be
bring it on.
Cool to watch.
Bring it on. So with that said, man, thanks for tuning in this week, guys. Yeah. I can't express how much we appreciate you listening. This is In the Grass Podcast. Make sure to leave a comment, like, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Subscribe to the podcast on Spotify, Apple Pods, Google Play, anywhere you listen to podcasts, really. If there's a platform you're looking for us on, let us know. We can probably make sure that it happens. If you want to be a guest on the show, send an email to inthegrasspod@gmail.com. If you want to tweet at us or just follow us on Twitter, we're at inthegrasspod. I've been your host, Steven. My co-host, my brother, Mikey. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you next time.
See you guys.